Good morning and welcome to Food for Thought with Dixie Burmeister. And now, here's Dixie.
Good morning. Beautiful morning out. This is what I call Rio. Rio's over there at the controls. Food for Thought here at 1100 KNZZ AM and 92.7 FM.
Yes.
Very good. And a lovely, lovely day. I highly encourage you to get out over to Fruitus Farmers Market and tomorrow to the Sunday Market in Palisade. I mean, what a time
Cross
of year.
Orchards has their farmers market going on right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got a lot of choices
All
there.
over the place.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
just here in town.
Oh, and what I call now Fallner. I was trying to figure out because we have a merging of the fall, foods of fall, vegetables of fall, and we still have the summer. You can still get some peaches, and check with the one that or go and just drive through the peach country.
Yeah.
Oh, and today is Wine Fest, by the way. A lot of fun going on there, stomping of the grapes and all those kinds of things.
A lot of wackiness.
Car show downtown.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. The band contest.
Colorado West is
yes,
this weekend.
Yes. And Comic-Con. I've never
That's
gone
true.
to it.
Yeah, that's going on today.
I was talking to somebody and they said that yesterday they saw somebody when they went out for breakfast and they were dressed, she said, and she went on. I said, I'll bet
Comic-Con.
you. Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And she
So
said,
if you're bored
"What?"
today, it's your own fault.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
And besides, I mean, it's still maybe go out and check the temperature and that. Good to get out there and go for a walk. And in the evening, going for a walk right now is awesome. And don't quite need a jacket, but in the morning you need a jacket. And I go, wear a jacket, leave a jacket. So
Yeah.
I put my car keys in my jacket today because I took it off the minute I got here.
I usually go for my walk before I come into work, which
Yes.
during the summer is fine.
Right.
This week,
because you should.
yeah, fingertips were a little cold.
Okay.
'Cause it was like 48 degrees.
Yes.
And I checked the temperature before I went, and apparently that didn't matter at all because I just walked outside and went for my walk. About halfway, I'm like, I probably should have grabbed like a hoodie or something.
Yes,
Put on
you should
socks,
have.
Something along. I just slipped my feet into tennis shoes. It's 5:15 in the morning. Just go out
Yes.
for a walk. I'm like, this is not a bright idea.
Well, Fred took our grand dog. We've been. I can't say dog sitting. One of our grandchildren sitting. Little Daisy, and he took her out, and he walked out, and then he turned around and he came back, and he goes, "I'm going to put on a jacket," and I go, "Good choice." That's been an experience this week. Oh, just a little over a year old.
Oh,
But
man.
But boy, can you get attached in a hurry? They're going to be picking her up tomorrow, and I don't know. It's gonna
Dogs and kids.
maybe we'll be gone when they come to the door.
Abscond with the puppy. Yeah.
Yes. But when it's time then to take her to the vet and do all of that.
Yeah. Once you got to pay the vet bills, it's real easy to send them back.
So busy time this weekend, I'm telling you, and all of the good foods of fall and summer and Phil, of course, Quality Meats are one of our sponsors at 340 North Avenue, and I think that our special guest is probably going, I know where that is. Phil puts the Q in quality, I always say. And we were talking about his fish tacos. Do you remember that? And that,
I do.
And that special fish seasoning that he got, Mary Lou Wilson,
Hi, Dixie.
brand manager, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Vivex. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about there. If you guys are thinking about painting your house, we have some answers for you because I had plenty of questions. But getting back to Phil, he wants everybody to know he pulled off a miracle. And that special fish taco seasoning that he got in Alaska,
Mm-hmm.
and he just bought a couple jars, and then he gave me a little bit to try with some of that halibut,
Yeah.
which was so good for fish tacos. And guess where it is?
Did he smuggle some more in?
Well, I think he did because
Nice.
he's got some on the shelf.
Ooh,
even
look at that.
And remember he's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but I know Phil's determination, and by golly, he did it. And there's a chance in the future that he might be sampling a little bit out of those tacos. I don't know when, and we'll let you know. But The seasoning is there now. So, and they're open from 9 to 5, so they're open now. You can get down there. And I told him, it's everything is going on. Next week is the Fruit of Fall Fest. I mean, talk about being packed up with activities, Mary Lou.
Yeah. I can't believe it's already Fruit of Fall Festival time.
Can you? I mean,
And
no.
I didn't even know it was wine festival this weekend.
See, it's
I've just been working too much.
well, that's good though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
In a way, that's good. But fall is always, I think, I would say that I know summer is a lot of people's most favorite season, but I will tell
I
you,
like fall.
is
That's my favorite.
That's mine too, and you're feeling fall a little bit
I
in the
love it.
morning, and not
And
paying.
I'm going to get out and get some stuff done this weekend after hearing everything that's going on around town.
Well, you should.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. And some of these things you can go to and walk around, so you
Yes.
can get that walk.
Yes.
But beautiful. And then when you come home, though, and you walk in and you go, "What's for dinner?"
Exactly.
And so Phil says, and you know what? I have read this and heard this from many chefs and people who love to cook. The Instapot is fine, and it comes through in a hurry, and we like it. But there's something about the crock pot.
There is something about I don't have an Instapot.
See?
I just
Okay.
have a crock pot.
See, well, my Instapot, I must say, has been sitting there, and the crock pot has been. I mean, it's good year round because it keeps the heat out
Yep.
in the summer. But he suggests, he's got some great chuck roasts and other roasts, just perfect. And he'll tell you, and he'll guide you.
He will. He's great.
What's great. And he has this seasoning. I don't know if you've ever had it called cat crap that you put on.
No, but I'm
Oh,
gotta
you
get
got to
in
get
there.
down there. Seriously. Put it on steaks. Put it on holiday roasts, like filet.
I'm gonna
and-
do that.
Oh, my gosh. It is so good.
And the fish seasoning. I think
you-
I'm
you
going there
have
right
to.
when I leave
Yeah.
here.
Well, you better pick up some meat, too.
I'm gonna.
I mean, because it's real meat.
I know it's real meat.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
the
filled with
best.
all of that stuff.
Yep.
And he has a recipe in mind that he likes. He even puts a little of his favorite dry rub along with the cat crap. I mean, when people hear that, they think, Rio, I'm surprised we haven't had some comments come into the station about what is she doing talking that way.
I'm with the way the world is, I'm surprised at that myself.
I know it. Okay, so watch.
Pretty much, we're gonna get one, I think.
He throws some French onion soup mix in with that, and a little, and he puts in also a can of cream of mushroom soup, and cooks it slow, and
Sounds
then it just
delicious.
falls apart.
Yes.
But and I like to take a roast and put in there, and I'm going to try the cat crap because I have some in my freezer. But and I put like maybe a package of au jus mix
Yes.
in, and some broth, and then you can add a little garlic or whatever you want.
Yeah, it
Some
sounds so
people like
good.
to add a jar of pepperoncinis.
A lot of
That
that.
makes a great one.
It does.
But the idea being a good healthy meal, and it's ready when you walk in the door.
And it smells so
Oh
good.
my gosh! You walk in, it just hits you.
Yes.
And you can go to all of these activities that are going on because I think many activities wait for the fall,
I think they do.
and they are going strong, and we want to enjoy some of those.
We certainly do. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting to
It
salivate.
usually happens. She does that to me.
And I haven't even talked about the recipes that you brought in addition to painting our houses. So you stick with us because the man over there has told me it's time to take a break. So I promise you we'll be back with more food for thought.
Hey, I'm Eric with Local Events, and this is Let's Go. Today is day 2 of Mesa County Library's 10th annual Comic-Con at the Grand Junction Convention Center. It's a big lineup of activities, special guests, cosplay contests, fandom meetups, Smash Bros. Tournament, exhibitors, and more. And entrance is free with a Mesa County Library card. There's just a few more Palisade Farmers Markets left in the season. Another one is coming up tomorrow. 9 a.m. is when it starts. Downtown Palisade at 3rd and Main Streets. Fresh produce and unique artisan products. That's Let's Go. For more, go to our website.
Dear Plugged In, You in on this? Toyota's versatile SUVs roll up their sleeves and take on tough jobs. Dress up for a night out, or haul your family and friends with their spacious interiors. And they're available with some real sweet tech. Want a hybrid SUV? Oh yeah, they got those too. All with a slew of standard features so you won't break the bank. Get the juice at Toyota.com, folks.
Visit Turner Toyota today on East Main in Montrose. Toyota, let's go places. Who are the VIPs in your life? You know, the very important professionals like your doctor, dentist, maybe even your hairstylist. How about your auto mechanic? Levi Crawford and his team earn the trust of their customers every day with his honesty and knowledge of auto repairs. Need a mechanic? Consider adding Crawford Alignment and Repair to your list of very important professionals. Visit CrawfordAlignment.com or stop by 2473 Commerce Boulevard in Grand Junction. Just look for the Crow logo on the sign.
How do you do it? Some people read pamphlets, others go online. What works for you?
The Blue Book or visiting knowyourjudge.com.
Voting for judges is extremely important to all Coloradans.
You have the job of voting to keep or dismiss judges. This November, make an informed choice.
Visit knowyourjudge.com and get the simple, impartial, nonpartisan facts.
Sponsored by the Colorado Broadcasters Association and the Office of Judicial Performance Evaluation.
The never-ending contest keeps rolling, and you could be our next big winner. This month, you could win a wood or gas stove from the Stove Depot and Chimney Works, the heating experts. Choose a Cozy Heat Oakport freestanding gas stove with installation or an Ambiance Outlander 15 wood-burning stove. It's a value of $5,000, courtesy of the Stove Depot and Chimney Works. Some restrictions apply. Must own your home to win. When you win any contest on our station, you'll be qualified for this month's grand prize. Keep listening for your chance to win in the never-ending contest.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
KNCC is news at the top and 30 minutes past the hour, 24/7. News Radio 1100. KNCC.
Good morning and welcome to Food for Thought with Dixie Burmeister. And now, here's Dixie.
And we're back here. Of course, you might have picked up on a little bit of my last word coming on air.
Mm-hmm.
What were we talking about?
I don't even remember.
You
food.
Remember food.
We're talking about
That's
food.
what we said. We were talking about food. And we were talking about
baked
Phil's
potatoes in the crock pot.
baked potatoes
Phil's
in the crock
delicious
pot. Does
meat.
work. Squash. Alyssa was on last week with the Community Food Bank. And my favorite way, to soften up a squash, at least to cut it if you still want it fairly intact, was punch holes in it. And I always wrap a paper towel around it, put it in the microwave.
Soften
it
it up.
works great. It just works great. And then you can cut it without going to the emergency room.
Exactly.
Yes, and all of those different kinds. And then Alyssa said, well, and I remember that. She said, well, I do mine in the crock pot sometimes. And I go, and she says, but I fully cook it in the crock pot. And I said, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
But yeah, I have put some.
Both of them.
So check out, all the things you can do in a crock pot. Just remember some of those tips. Like don't put too much liquid in. And if you're going to make a stew or soup, remember it doesn't evaporate in your
Exactly.
crock pot, in your crock pot. And so you might want to cut down a little bit. Actually, a half a cup to a cup of liquid is enough to get meat cooked good.
Yep.
But if you're doing a stew or that, you want more as well. And if you have time, brown the meat before you put it
Always
in.
brown the meat.
Oh, absolutely. Now, there's some, they call them crock pots, but they're not really crock. But they're like a crock pot that you can brown right in. In that, and then turn it down and put your other ingredients in. But mine isn't that way.
Nor mine.
And I make sure I get the scrapings and I put the broth that I'm going to put in that skillet where I brown.
Yes.
Yeah, and get all that goody stuff and put that in there. And another hint is don't put like vegetables that will go mushy immediately.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Just root vegetables work the best. And sometimes some of those take a little longer even than the meat. You
They
know,
do.
like yeah. And so carrots and turnips and that
Ooh, I
kind
love
of.
turnips.
Oh, I do too.
And I like turnips in my roast.
I do too. I do too. So some of those things are good. And don't add though frozen food to it.
No.
And if you have a big hunk of meat, if you go and see Phil and you walk out of there with a big, cut it up in about 3 pieces.
I do that.
Yeah, and then you get to brown, see a little
Yep.
bit more of it. Oh, I'll tell you. And you walk in that door, you're tired from having such a good time all day or working all day.
Yes.
And there it is. And go to the farmer's market and get all those good vegetables to put in the crock pot.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, crock pots are one of my best friends.
Mine too.
Okay.
I love it.
He also wanted you to know he has some great pork that you could make. You know.
Yes.
And ask Hunter, his son, as well. A lot of things to do. Okay, talking about crock pots, I think we've gone over many of the tips.
I think we have.
Yeah. Now, make sure you turn it on before you.
Oh, I've done that before.
Have you ever done that?
I have.
Yep. And you walk in hours later.
And you're like,
I can't cook that now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I have.
This isn't Thanksgiving, but another thing is I always put the carcass of the turkey in the crock pot with a bunch of broth and water and then cook that. And it makes the most awesome soup stock ever.
Yes.
Ever. This is the carcass after the meal. I always do it. But make sure you put it on for enough hours if you are going out with the family. A lot of times we go on a hike the day after Thanksgiving, or if you're Black Fridaying it or
Yeah.
anything. But coming home and realizing it's now switched to warm for a few hours, it's like, oh no.
I've never done the carcass. I've always done it just on the stove.
Oh.
I've not done it in the crock pot.
Well, it works great.
I bet it does.
It does. It
Yeah.
really works great. Moving on from Thanksgiving back to fall and all this good stuff. Well, early this year, Fred said, have you looked at the east and west side of the house really good? No trees or anything over there, and they get the full sun, the one side in the morning and then the other. And I go, yeah, I have. And I said, he goes, I think we need to get it painted. And I go, sad to say, but I think so too.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd been a number of years. You look at the front because it's brick and wood, and you go, oh, it doesn't need paint. Then you walk to the sides of the house, and it's like,
isn't that funny?
oh yeah,
and you've got
yeah.
those big trees, that big tree in the front.
Yes.
That really blocks the sun from
It
the front of
does.
your
It
home.
does. It protects it there. And in the back, we have a porch as well,
Yeah.
and so yeah. So.
But the east and west, that it was time.
Right. So know this lady who's had interesting careers and is now the branch manager. That's what
Branch
your title
operator.
is.
Yeah.
And with 5X,
Yes.
Best of the West, currently.
We did. We were.
Yeah, congratulations
thank you.
on that.
That was fun.
But so we gave you a call.
You
and
did.
You came, and you too. First, you goes, wow, you know, looking at the front of it in the garage, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, and then I go, well, now come.
Yes.
And she goes, oh
Yeah,
yeah, it really is, and it almost looked like, and you could probably explain it better, but I don't know if it looked like the paint was worn. It was blotchy.
Yeah, you know, the sun just bakes on those, especially the west and the east side, and the way your house is situated with it being in full sun when the sun's shining on it. That sun just bakes on it, and it just almost was down to bare wood in some spots, and it does just get really faded and blotchy.
See? Yeah, and I think maybe ours was. I don't know. I mean, I know you looked at it real close.
Well, I do know that we're going to come put some more paint on them.
Yes, fully guaranteed.
Yep, that's our warranty.
And see, and you brought that up.
Yep.
Yeah. I tell you what, the warranty is worth it. I mean, you have a 6, 9, and
14 year.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. And well, right here, I was talking to somebody. I said, we're getting our house painted, and they go, Vivex? And I go, yes. And she said, Mary Lou, and of course you know Maggie.
We painted for Maggie, and
And she said, you know, we had a problem years after it was painted, but it was under warranty.
Yes. And you know, our warranties there are no exclusions, no fine print. If you think it's a warranty, we're going to come take care of it with no questions asked.
Yes, and I said, well, Mary Lou, I felt kind of funny calling you and all of that, and I guess we just don't go to the side, especially the west side of the house.
Yeah, you guys are in the front and the back.
Yeah, and so you said you don't even. I said, could you come and take a look? And you go, I don't even have to come. Going to take care of both those sides, and I mean, what a relief, and we're good to go.
Sometimes, we've got with situations like that when you get the paint on and then it kind of cures out for a week or so.
Sure, there you go.
We might have to come and do another coat. So I think we've got you on the schedule coming up.
Yes, you do.
Good.
You do next week, actually.
Yeah, I know Robin's my office manager. She's been with me now 9 years.
Oh, she's great.
She's awesome.
She's fun to work with.
She got right on
She did. And so those are signs. Are there any other signs you look for? I mean, the blotchiness was a big one, I thought.
That is a big one, but really there's so much to proper prep when you're painting a home. And caulking is a big part of it as well.
Okay.
So, you look at your seams around your windows and doors and your soffits and fascia. And if you're not using, or if the painter before didn't use a really good caulking, you'll see that it will start to shrink and fall out.
Yes, we had some happen.
So caulking is keep the moisture out. That's really what our goal is, and to tighten the house up. So we use a top of the line caulking from Sherwin-Williams, and it's an elastomeric caulking, so it has a lot of stretch to it. So it doesn't shrink and fall out.
So is that the progress that they have made over the years in caulking?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right. Yep. Things improve, and probably paint has improved since we last had the house painted. I mean, that was years ago.
I'm sure that the technology with paint is it's unbelievable. And Vivax as a company has a really good relationship with Sherwin-Williams, and we've even gone back to their whole plant in Ohio and looked at the whole plant, and they have this field that's just nothing but panels of painted panels out in this field with sun, so they can see how the sun is going to affect all these different paints.
That's
pretty interesting.
That's good, because that's all making you feel more comfortable about the decision to get your house painted.
Exactly.
Because it's a big
expense.
Yeah, it is. And then of course, the next question. Oh, and living here in Western Colorado, no wonder we have. I mean,
it's just,
how many days of sun do we have?
We have a
we
lot
celebrate
of sun.
when it's a cloud cover
we
day.
We do.
Which was great at the Peach Festival, by the way.
Yes.
And so that would be a thing to look at the sides of your house that do, for instance, like we get the full, because somebody said, well, you love trees. And I go, but not on, we don't have them on the east and west side.
Right.
There's not that much distance between our houses there. Yep. And check it out before you get down to the bare wood.
Yeah,
right?
because then you're going to get into rotted wood.
Yes.
Which we also can take care of for you. We have
that's the good thing.
Yep.
I mean, the house is ready. Oh, yes, he told me. We'll take a break, and then we'll be back also with her recipes. I promise.
Your search for a new vehicle just got easier. Introducing the new high-performance Ford of Moab. You'll find out quickly that they're doing things a lot differently. They've expanded their inventory with more F-Series trucks, Shelbys, Broncos, Expeditions, and Escapes arriving weekly. They also have a nice selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs already in stock. More big changes are on the way at the new high-performance Ford of Moab. Remember, if you don't see them first, they can't save you any money. It's just that easy. Visit performancefordofmoab.com.
Hi, this is Laree Rath, owner of Snyder Memorial's Funeral Home, Crematory, and Headstone Company. It is difficult to know where to start and what to ask when planning end-of-life services. Here are some things to take into consideration when calling around. What is your total price and what all is included? What are the names of your facilities and where are they located? Where do the embalming and cremation services take place? And lastly, are there payment plans or discounts available to me? So while we don't want to be your only call, we are confident that we will be your final choice. Thank you and God bless.
The West Slope is the best slope. It's why we live here, right? Hi, this is Claudine inviting newcomers to the West Slope to bring your memories and treasures to Frame Depot. Whether you are a DIYer or just want to let the experts handle it, for 38 years your friends and neighbors have trusted us with their framing. And we're not just known for our framing services. We offer a delightful assortment of gifts for any occasion as well. Come visit us at 529 Bogart Lane in Grand Junction.
You put your sweater on, you take it off. On, off. Yeah, it's that season again. And it's time to get your heating system ready for winter. Let A1 Heating and Cooling check and service your furnace or boiler to make sure it's performing at its best. Visit A1HeatingInc.com and check out their Facebook page for their sweater weather contest.
1100 KNZZ. Dependable weather.
Becoming mostly sunny Sunday, Grand Junction 75, Montrose 67. Mostly clear overnight, 52. Mostly sunny Monday, 80.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. An Israeli airstrike on a Beirut suburb on Friday claimed the life of Ibrahim Akil, a Hezbollah commander who is in charge of the group's elite Radwan forces. That strike also killed about a dozen members of the terrorist group who were meeting in the basement of that building when it was destroyed. Hezbollah has been launching thousands of rockets at Israel ever since Hamas invaded another part of Israel, effectively creating two war fronts for Israel over the past year. Former U.S. Senator Jim Talent predicts a Donald Trump election victory in November would cause European countries once again to increase their own defense spending, just as he convinced them to do during his first term in office, that takes some of the burden off of American taxpayers. The start of the high school football season this year has come along with a number of player deaths. Players most at risk, the experts say, in late summer and early fall. This is
Glenn Beck.
Is that a real person? You have no idea.
Weekday mornings at 7.
Sounding the alarm on the catastrophic risks posed by AI.
KNZZ.
Good morning and welcome to Food for Thought with Dixie Burmeister. And now, here's Dixie.
And we are back here at 1100 KNZZ AM, 92.7 FM. I like to say that, Rio.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. And we don't have much time, so we won't say, but congratulations to both. I tell you what, both Fruita and Grand Junction High School did a great job.
That was a great game last
night. That was a game that had Fred jumping up and down. So when that happens, you know. And speaking louder and louder, as he was telling me, because he was listening to you guys on the radio. So congratulations to them. Mary Lou Wilson, branch manager.
Yes.
I said it right.
Yes.
Yeah. And well known, you had numerous jobs, but first I have to tell them about the recipes that you brought, because they're going, what did she bring?
Yes.
For recipes. Sausage stuffed butternut squash.
Yes.
Which is very appropriate. You must have been listening last week because we were talking about squash.
I was.
And how good it is for you and how delicious. And
it made me hungry for squash.
Oh,
and I remembered that recipe.
There, see? And you...
And I haven't got it made yet this fall, but it might happen today.
Oh, okay. Oh, and if you want ground beef, Phil has it. And he has Van Winkle Ranch ground beef, by the way.
Well, I
Very
have a
good.
Van Winkle Ranch Border Collie at my house.
Oh, you do? Well, that's news.
And some of their meat in my freezer.
Okay. That's really good. And the recipe calls for, guess what, sausage?
It does. So I can get some of that pork.
Oh, gosh, does he have some good? Yeah, he really does. And, celery, onion. Oh, now here, fresh rosemary, fresh sage. And now is the time, a lot of your fresh herbs, they can take some cold weather, but basil almost this morning.
My basil's gone.
Is it?
It was gone this morning.
I could see that in some areas.
Yeah.
If it hasn't, you take it down and
I was
rinse
shocked.
it a little, and then I chop it and I put in ice cube trays. Yes, I had. Yep.
I've heard of that.
With a little bit of, you can put it with a little bit of oil or a little bit of broth, and I'm telling you, it works. I'm going to sneeze. No, okay. I almost had to say, take it away, Mary Lou. But it freezes up like that, and then you take the cubes and put them in a bag.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And that works real well. And you might want to do some with oil and some with broth. And so even if you're sautéing a bunch of fresh vegetables, you can throw a cube of that in with the basil. And that's one of the, and you can dry basil as well. I kind of like it frozen because I don't know.
I like that concept of frozen. I should have tried that. I don't have any now, so I'll have to do it next year.
And you can snip that rosemary. I actually leave rosemary in the herb pots out there. And this in February, and I go out and I just take some when I'm ready to use it. And the time lasts not quite as long. But it's dried.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to dry
might as well use it.
But you can cut like stalks of the rosemary and bunches of thyme and anything else that you like, and layer it flat and let it freeze that way. You might want to rinse it off. Then
rinse it off a little bit.
Dip it in water and then shake it out. And then lay it flat and let it dry, and then put it in bags, and you'll have it as well. But basil is, if it's not gone, it's on the cusp.
Yeah.
And so take care of basil or basil.
Well,
but this looks like a great recipe. So delicious. I'll have to get that. Now, did you make any tweaks to this?
I have not. I've done that. Either one of them. But the thing I like about the sausage stuffed butternut squash is that it does have the cranberries and pecans in it too. So
yes,
it's really delicious.
Here it is.
Yep.
Oh yes, small apple, some dried cranberries, and chopped pecans. Today is National Pecan Cookie Day. I'm not going there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is. So there you go. Look at. But great meal.
It's just a good hearty meal, and it's good for you too.
And cook extra so you have it for the next day.
Yes.
That's what I like to do. And pumpkin croissants. Now, croissant itself does not have pumpkin in the dough.
No.
But it is it's a filling.
It is, and you can actually, you can make your own croissants and then do the pumpkin filling
of course
the pumpkin
you could.
puree.
But how many of us are?
Well, I don't. So this recipe, I call it's the lazy pumpkin croissant recipe.
Oh.
Because you buy your croissants already made at the store.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then you make your pumpkin filling, and you use the pumpkin puree, not the pie filling.
Right. Make that clear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you want to talk about a super vegetable, pumpkin is so good for you.
It's good for you. And it tastes good.
And by the way, if you're making that roast, put a cup of pumpkin or a half a cup or a cup of that pumpkin puree in there. You will not taste the pumpkin. It's not going to taste pumpkin pie.
I've never tried that. I'm going to try it.
It makes it so rich.
I bet it does.
And Fred, when I did it the first time, he goes, "What did you put in this? This sauce is so good and rich." And I go, I knew I didn't dare tell him beforehand because he'd right away say,
nose up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And he goes, "That is so good." And it goes in chili.
I've done it in chili.
Yeah, but
I don't know why I've never thought to do it in a
stews,
roast. Yep.
So good. Has a little vanilla in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just cut it in half and put your filling in there, and then you just put them together. You can put a little bit of the filling on top and bake it for just a little bit. Come out warm and tasty. It's delicious.
Oh, that sounds... Well, as we were saying, we salivate in this show. So I'll make sure and get those. Now, what I'm going to have to do, because these may be copyrighted, I will have to...
they are. Nothing.
Yeah, I will tell you how to get them.
Yes.
Because you have the websites on here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because we want to... Now, I could take it and change it, but I think this is probably... okay. You have the websites on here.
I wanted to print them off so you would have them.
So I will have Max post those right away.
You do so much off your phone anymore. I mean, I get recipes off my phone.
Yes.
And then... You know, I do have my little recipe box that was my grandma's, and I still have it in my pantry, and I use those recipes.
Yes.
But, I went specially and printed those off for you.
Right. Okay, so we like to be upfront.
Yes.
That's why having recipe contests anymore is really difficult.
It would be hard.
Yeah, very hard, because you want original you're going to print them and hand them out or put them on our website.
Yeah, you do.
it's tricky. It is really, really tricky, and it can't be a real simple change like, oh, it called for pecans and I used walnuts.
And I really never. I always will improvise or do something different, but I usually always use a recipe. That's somebody else's
A recipe is a guide.
Yes.
And you can change it. And then there are ways that you can use it. The tricky part is, believe it or not, is because I've talked with some experts on this in the Library of Congress.
Yes.
And the tricky thing is in the directions, because that's where you can become creative.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you can print the ingredients, but not the directions as written. And
that makes sense.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And that was something that I learned, and luckily not the hard way.
Yeah, because it's a slippery slope there.
It's a slippery slope.
And the only thing I've ever made without a recipe, and I made it up myself, is my chili.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different every time I make it.
Yes. Me
too. My girls are like, Mom, what's your chili recipe? And I'm like, I don't really have it.
I don't
just throw
either.
it together and cook it.
I don't either. Yes. That is funny. But also, check out, I mean, the internet, there's thousands and thousands of recipes, And one time we printed one that was handed out somewhere from one of our winners, and then I got a call from a reader who looked it up.
Yeah.
And said, this is not an original.
Yeah.
And so that...
I wish I was a good enough cook to just
let me
do
tell
my
you,
own.
I bet if you if you composed that recipe, tried to, and if I did mine, there'd be one like it on the internet.
Probably.
Every time I think I've had an original idea, it's like, oh, nobody ever thought of that.
And you're like,
Google. Yeah. You put it into a search and you're like,
dang.
Yes, dang. But a lot of people haven't thought of it, or tried it. And I mean, at this time of year, that good old recipe for 1 can of pumpkin puree and a spice cake mix, no eggs, no oil, no other. You just whip that up and bake it. It is so good. And people will go, well, you can't. No, that won't work. But it's an old recipe that's been around and around, and
it works.
In fact, I talked about it not too long ago, because you can take, right now you could take heavy whipped cream. For the Wine Fest, you could add a little Merlot or one of those wines to the whipped cream. It does work. Heavy whipped cream holds up perfectly for days in the refrigerator, which you don't think it will. And or if you got some peach preserves, you can fold in
that would be
some of
delicious.
And it'd be. I served that at Dillard's 2 years ago.
Did you?
Yes. In the fall, they had their grand opening, and everybody loved it. And they go, oh, well, you can't. You have to put some cornstarch or something. I said, no. Okay. He gave me the signal. When we come back, we are addressing how to pick out a color and the rest of the prep, so you know all the answers to all your questions about getting your house painted. Don't go away.
Cars, customs, trucks, bikes, hot rods, imports. If it's cool, it'll be at the 10th Annual Chrome and Thunder Car and Motorcycle Show, driven by Alcan Spring and Motorcycle Accessories, September 28th at Las Colonias Park. Free registration is $25 at chromeandthunder.com. There will be no day of show registrations. Admission is free, courtesy of Antonelli's Advanced Automotive. Don't miss Western Colorado's premier automotive event, Chrome and Thunder, Saturday, September 28th from 10 to 3 at Las Colonias Park. We'll see you there.
It's no secret that now's the best time to get the most money for the sale of your home. But what I hear all the time is, Dave, what am I going to do once it sells? Hi, I'm Dave Kimbrough with the Kimbrough team at RE/MAX 4000, and I'm here to tell you we've taken the worry out of selling with our Move on Your Terms program. It puts you in charge of your move. You pick your sales price, you pick your close date, and you pick when you move out. This way you can cash out and shop for a new home while living in your current one. It's how you move on your terms. I'm not bragging, I'm just applying for a job. Hire the Kimbrough team today.
The Native community is big for me. Makes me feel good to pass on our Arapaho traditions. My kids love going up to the Sundance. I like to tell people the Sundance is about family. It's about the tribe. It's not just about the dancer. It's kind of like life. As a sun dancer, I'm just one spoke in the wheel. I need my family there. I need my role models. I need my people there, especially my children. You know, coming in that door, my family is ready to see me and they believe in me. Before, I'd never seen that from my people. But now when I walk in that door and I see those smiling faces and they're happy to see me, that's special. With my 4 kids, all I ask for them in Arapaho ways is health and happiness. Nothing more, nothing less.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
For some children, a single surgery can turn an untreated cleft into a smile for life. But at Smile Train, we understand that most children need a little extra care. They need nourishment to ensure they grow healthy and strong. They need a confident voice so they can express themselves clearly. They need emotional support and counseling to help them navigate the challenges of school and home life. And they need orthodontic and dental care to make sure their smiles light up the room as brightly as possible. Visit smiletrain.org to learn how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community with lifelong smiles. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Hour by hour, minute by minute, news events unfold. And if you want to stay up to the second, then you're in the right place. News Radio 1100 KNZZ.
Good morning and welcome to Food for Thought with Dixie Burmeister. And now, here's Dixie.
And here we are, gosh, food and painting your house and stuffing your squash. We have been talking all kinds of things with Mary Lou Wilson, brand manager. Yeah, branch manager.
Yeah.
Why?
It doesn't.
See, I knew I
it's
said
all
it right.
good. Yep.
Branch manager for Vivex. Knowing you, we don't have time to go through your whole history. But,
I know.
It was like, and if we get through this in time, people are going, well, how did she get into paint? I mean, you worked at the chamber.
Yeah, I was out in fruit at the chamber, and oh boy, I've had a couple businesses of my own.
Right.
And this just kind of came my way, and it's been great. I love it.
And here you are,
Yes.
in charge of house painting. Color, picking out a color. Whether you want to stay, it's a big decision. Whether you want to stay with the color,
It is.
Whether you want to go with something different. What do you need to think about when you?
You know, the color really does become a pretty big deal for people. It does cause a little bit of anxiety because it's a lot of money that you're spending.
You're not going to do it every year.
You're not going to do it every year. And so it's really important that you know, we do offer free color consultations,
which is great.
And I do the color consultations. And what I'd like to take into account is I like to look at the shingles on your roof.
Gotcha.
If you've got brick or stone on the front of your home, look at your neighbors. You don't want to be just like your neighbor, but you don't want to stick out like a sore thumb.
Exactly.
So we actually have a program where we can paint your house if you're going to change your color completely virtually. I like to actually bring samples out if we're going to change it completely. Now, like with you and Fred, you guys wanted to go pretty much back to where you were, so we were able to get our colors from our color fan deck. And I think they turned out really great.
Just perfect.
But there's all kinds of different tools that we use for color because it's an important thing to get the color right.
It's kind of scary.
It's very scary.
You know, that we told you, yes, we're going to do it, and then we you know, we were dragging our feet there for a while.
You know, and I learned the hard way years ago, probably 30 years ago, built our first home out in Loma, and I picked my color from Sherwin-Williams off of the color swatch.
Yeah.
And I came home the day, and they got done painting it, and it was pink. It really was. I picked out a taupe, but some taupes can go pink.
Yes.
And back then it was in the 90s, and I had a forest green trim around my windows and stuff. But I said to the painters, I hope that's the primer. And they said, no, Mrs. Wilson, that's the color of your house.
Whoa.
And it's still that color.
Is that right?
I don't live there anymore, but it's still that. My mom lives up where we built that house. And and it's still that color.
Well, so getting some guidance really does
Yes.
help, and the prep we were talking about caulking and all of that, and power washing.
Yeah, the first
Very-
thing really that you need to do is get your we power wash
and
the
you
house.
do that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do that. We like to wash a couple days and give it a couple days to dry before we do any prep.
Yep.
And so typically we'll wash on a Friday or Saturday, give it time to dry, and then they'll come and, of course, scrape all the loose and failing paint. We do prime any bare wood or metal because most of the time we do paint the downspouts and the gutters. And we also prime 18 inches around the bottom siding of the house
Yep,
because that's
yep.
where all the moisture
Right.
sets. And then, of course, pound in loose nails, caulk over nail heads, caulk in all your seams. We really want, the prep job, anybody can put paint on a house.
That's right. That is right. That is right. That is right.
But getting the prep job right.
And I know you do inside. Do you do inside?
We do
painting as well?
interior
Some?
paintings in the winter.
Yeah. But Fred and I have learned that as do it yourself first. Sometimes we would do that, and we learned if you and Fred is like, let's start painting. Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm like, let's start taping.
Exactly.
At first. And
The prep is the biggest part of both inside and outside. And it actually makes your job a lot easier if you'll get the prep done right first.
Well, and when we watched Ruben, who was doing our house,
Yes.
do all of that, and then he could go so fast. Now, spraying, hand paint, brushing, does it make a difference? What?
With
leave it to the experts, probably.
We spray 99.9% of our jobs are sprayed exterior. We do brush and roll most of our interiors because
Right.
usually people are living there and we don't
Right.
want to get paint everywhere.
Yeah.
But the spraying technology today is just
Oh my gosh,
the
it's
sprayers.
changed. Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
That's what we noticed.
Yeah, and it really as long as you're changing your spray tips out about every 10 to
Gotcha.
15 gallons, keeping
mhm.
your gun clean,
Oh.
you're going to get good
Yeah.
coverage and
I didn't see a speck of paint where it shouldn't be.
and that's what we strive to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Sometimes accidents happen, but we
Oh,
really
yeah.
try
Right.
to keep things covered
Right.
and keep
Right.
your concrete
Right.
masked off and windows masked off.
So, anything else that we need to keep in mind when we're making the decision quickly?
I think it's really important because I know people when you're getting bids for like getting your house
Sure.
painted, you get a couple, 2, 3 bids, but I think it's just really important to pay attention to what you're going to get as far as prep work for your
Right.
money.
Okay.
And I think the warranty, as far as I know, Vivax is the only painting company that actually warranties our workmanship.
That because we did talk to others as well, and that was one of our questions.
Yeah.
And so I feel much more comfortable, and I know it works.
And you're a good testimony because we're going to come and take care of something.
Yes, you are
on the warranty already.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm proud of that.
See, absolutely. And I would think that fall is a great time to get your house painted as well.
Fall is a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
We typically can paint up until about Thanksgiving if the weather holds.
Great.
Yeah,
great,
we have
great.
some few spots still open, but we're filling up.
And you have a website.
We do. Just vivaxpros.com, and
Okay.
it's VIVAX. The word pros, PROS.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you brought us some good recipes.
I did.
Very good. You like to throw something together, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I like to cook. But again, like we were talking about the recipes, nothing's really original but my chili. But I do like to cook, and I'm going to cook something today because I'm hungry after this segment.
Have we inspired you?
have
We've
inspired me.
motivated you. Oh, and Rio and Mary Lou, quickly, have you ever heard of sponge candy?
No.
It's National Sponge Candy Day, and I'm like,
Where
what
do
is
you
sponge
get all this?
candy? And it's very porous, they said, and sometimes it's called different things. I mean, angel candy, but they don't mean angel food candy. It's real light, and sometimes
Is
has
it
chocolate.
also called sea foam?
They said sometimes it's called sea foam. some
Okay,
of it.
I have a friend who loves sea foam candy, and I get it at Intrams. I've never eaten it.
Because I was wondering, it's made with sugar,
a lot of sugar, I
corn
think.
syrup, which is sugar, water, vinegar, and baking soda, and they say it tastes like toasted molasses, and it's very popular in Britain, all over the country, and everybody has a different. And some of it's called fairy candy, I guess, for
I'll
years
be
and years
danged.
and years and years because of the lightness of it. And so now and in Britain it's called Signer toffee. So I didn't know. I wondered if Enstrom's would have anything like that.
They call
because,
it seafoam, and it's covered in chocolate.
well,
You
then
can get
I'm
it milk
gonna-
or dark chocolate.
Well,
And I've
Enstrom's, there
never,
you go.
I've never tried it because it doesn't
Yeah.
look appealing to me. But this friend of mine loves it.
Well, I want to tell everyone, we're just about out of time. I always like to leave the message of try to get out and take a couple walks, especially it's so beautiful now in certain times of the day. And don't forget, though, how important sunscreen is.
Yes.
Fall, winter, spring, summer, very important. And to hydrate. We're told over and over and over to hydrate. But and, of course, where to go. I mean, we have great trails. We have parks. And of course, we also have a lot of activities.
We have lots of activities.
Yeah, right. So, and get out to those farmers markets. I mean, what choices you have, you will be overwhelmed. I am hungry for pickling pickles, just to eat them that way. So you'll probably see me out there buying some somewhere. Thanks again, Mary Lou.
Thanks, Dixie.
Great time, and everybody have a great weekend. And who knows, maybe those Broncos might even win this weekend. Take care. Have a good weekend.